Joseph Dewey Atkins, saga in Metro Atlanta began in 1983, when he was licensed as a nurse by the state of Georgia and spent the next 4 years working in Atlanta at Grady Memorial Hospital. He went on to work at Georgia Baptist Hospital before becoming a critical care nurse at North Fulton Regional Hospital in June 1990. By many accounts, Joseph was a dedicated top-notch nurse, a perfectionist, and stickler for detail. His specialty was working in the pressure cooker atmosphere of trauma units, where he thrived. But Joseph was also detested by many of his co-workers. They had concerns regarding his skills as a nurse and his ability to revive patients. Joseph had been dismissed from an Alabama hospital years before for failure to get along with his co-workers. Investigators suspected Joseph in over 100 deaths in the area over the past decade in 20 different facilities where he worked. However, many of those facilities had thwarted investigations. Joseph, while working at North Fulton Regional Hospital in Roswell, deliberately injected patients under his care with drugs that induced heart failure. Then, he allegedly played the hero by rushing in to revive them. Once their hearts stopped, or in hospital lingo, they went code blue. Suspicions about Joseph's conduct at North Fulton Regional Hospital began with 4 of his fellow nurses. They started compiling information on code blues after they noticed that the number of those incidents, some involving patients whose conditions weren't life-threatening, seemed to be rising alarmingly. And some of those patients weren't surviving. During a 6-month period in 1990 when Joseph worked at the Roswell Hospital, there were 32 code blues, 20 more than the usual average of 2 per month. And of those 32 events, Joseph was present at 22. The nurses also discovered that 4 different drugs that could cause sudden heart failure if injected in a patient were missing from crash carts in the intensive care unit, where Joseph worked. A search of Joseph's home by police would later turn up a vial of one of those missing drugs, a drug commonly used to treat bee stings and allergic reactions. However, if used inappropriately, it can lead to heart failure. On top of that circumstantial evidence were the allegations made by Bambi Plumlee, a woman who had been under Joseph's care in 1988 when he worked at Physicians and Surgeons. She went to the hospital after experiencing what she thought was an allergic reaction to penicillin, given to her by her dentist. She says Joseph suggested to the emergency room doctor that he give her an injection, and the doctor agreed. She quickly went into cardiac arrest. She alleged that Joseph either negligently or intentionally gave her the medication. A subsequent examination of Plumlee at another hospital found no underlying heart problems and no explanation for her cardiac arrest, other than that she might have taken too much cold medicine. Joseph was fired from North Fulton in December 1990 for undisclosed reasons that hospital officials later said were unrelated to the investigation into suspicious deaths. He had previously been fired from both Grady and Georgia Baptist for claiming to have a 4-year nursing degree when he actually had a 2-year degree. After leaving North Fulton Regional Hospital, he went to work for firms that supplied temporary nurses to hospitals, which put him to work at Clayton General Hospital in Clayton County, and later Cooper Green Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. At both of those facilities, he was linked to suspicious code blues. 10 civil cases filed against Joseph in Metro Atlanta were settled together, with Joseph's insurance company putting up more than $1 million and North Fulton Hospital contributing a substantial amount. Most of it went to the family of a small Clayton County girl who was left severely brain damaged after a suspicious code blue. In one incident at Cooper Green Hospital, the patient Robert Price died. It was that episode that led to the Alabama murder charges against Joseph. What made the case particularly prosecutable was testimony from a fellow nurse, who said she saw Joseph in Price's room just before the code blue and that he then tried to stop her from going inside. He was doing a dance of death in a hallway while Price was dying. The amount of lidocaine found in Price's body was twice the lethal dose and 4 times the therapeutic dose. Lidocaine is a drug which can induce an irregular heartbeat. In this incident Joseph was arrested. But that 1992 conviction was overturned on appeal because of an error by the trial judge, and his second trial for that crime ended in a hung jury. At Joseph's trial, Marion Albright, Price's assigned nurse, testified that when she came back from a lunch break she saw Joseph walking out of Price's room. She attempted to enter it to check on her patient, but he had tried to prevent her from doing so. In the end, after just over an hour of deliberation and only 2 votes, the jury decided that the circumstances warranted a conviction. When the verdict was read, Joseph put his hand to his face. On appeal, Joseph's conviction was overturned, yet when he was tried again, the jury was unable to reach a verdict. Another retrial was scheduled for March 1998, but 2 months before it was to begin, Joseph, who has always maintained his innocence, finally accepted a manslaughter plea agreement and a 15-year sentence in 1998. Prosecutors contend Joseph injected Price, with a fatal overdose of lidocaine, a local anesthetic and heart medication. Prosecutors said Joseph got a thrill from listening to the man's heart rate monitor sound an alert and watching hospital workers race to save him. Cases involving alleged medical serial killers are hard to prosecute. Often, the perpetrator and the victim are the only witnesses to what happened, and the victim is dead. Patients are often very ill to begin with, so deaths are attributed to natural causes. And drugs found in the bodies of victims can be explained away as the result of something other than homicide.